Welcome back to ADU Adventures, Building Your Backyard. I'm James, and today we're headed to the coast, to Santa Monica, California. There's a reason I wanted to do this one in 2026, and it comes down to a birthday. This year, Route 66 turns 100 years old. The Mother Road, the most famous highway in America. And for most of that century, the road may end here, but the pull that sent people down it never really did. And that, to me, is the whole character of this city. For 100 years, Santa Monica has been the place where the country's westward reach finally runs out of road, where people thrive, pilots, inventors, athletes, artists, and today the tech workers of Silicon Beach. They come to land here. And in a city where roughly 72% of households rent instead of own, the homeowners of Santa Monica are quietly holding the scarcest thing in a town built on arrivals. A place to park. So here's the map for today. First, the history of the place where the road runs out and why people have loved it for a century. Then the part every homeowner here actually wants to talk about. Who wants to live in Santa Monica? What renting really looks like? And the real questions people ask before they build a backyard home here, including the big one about rent control. And at that end, the thing this city has quietly taught me about what a backyard home can be. Let's drive in, where the road runs out. Let's start with a pier, because everything in Santa Monica starts with that pier. And its origin is my favorite kind of story. Something built for the humblest possible reason, becoming a place of pure joy. The municipal pier opened in 1909. It was built, and I promise I'm not making this up, to carry the city's sewer pipes far enough offshore to keep the beach clean. That was the whole job. Infrastructure. And then Southern California did what Southern California does. The Pacific Electric rail lines brought crowds to the sand. Amusement piers went up. At one point, there were 5 separate piers in Santa Monica, stacked with roller coasters and ballrooms. The pier we know today, with its antique carousel and the Ferris wheel out over the water, is the last amusement pier standing on the North Bay. A sewer project became one of the most beloved places in America. Hold on to that idea. It comes back before we're done. Now the arrivals, because they come in waves here too. In 1921, Donald Douglas founded the Douglas Aircraft Company in Santa Monica. And in 1924, 4 Douglas-built planes lifted off the city's clover field to try something no one had ever done before. Fly all the way around the world. 2 of them made it home. 27,553 miles in 175 days. And the crowd that gathered in Santa Monica to greet them was estimated at 200,000 people. The first flight around the earth began and ended right here. A decade later, in 1934, the worst of the Great Depression, the Works Progress Administration set up some exercise equipment on the sand, just south of the pier. And people came to use it. Gymnasts, acrobats, stunt performers, that little stretch of beach became Muscle Beach. And it's recognized today as the birthplace of physical fitness movement in America. The whole modern idea of working out traces back, in part, to a patch of Santa Monica sand and a set of parallel bars. And then, on January 1st, 1936, the road arrived. Route 66 was extended from downtown Los Angeles out to its final stop here in Santa Monica. That 2,400-mile of ribbon that Dust Bowl families, Depression migrants, returning GIs, and generations after them followed west. This year, that road turns 100. Here's the detail I love, because it's really the whole point of this episode hiding inside a piece of highway trivia. Everybody thinks Route 66 ends at the Santa Monica Pier. It never did. Federal highway rules said a road couldn't just dead end at the beach. It had to connect to another highway. So the official end of the most romantic road in American history is actually the corner of Lincoln and Olympic Boulevards, an ordinary intersection about a mile inland, and that famous end of the trail sign out on the pier, it wasn't actually even put up until 2009. But for 100 years, nobody's trip actually ended at Lincoln and Olympic. People reach that corner, they can see the ocean up ahead, and they keep going. They walk the last mile to the pier and the water, because a dream doesn't stop at a stoplight. That gap between where the road officially ends and where people actually want to arrive is where this whole episode lives. And let's be honest, why they keep coming. Because it isn't complicated. It's the light. It's the ocean air in the morning. It's the walkable, bikeable town where you can live near the water, wander down to the pier, and feel like you got away with something. People have loved Santa Monica, California for the same reasons for 100 years. What's changed isn't the appeal. What's changed is how hard it has become to land there. The questions homeowners actually ask. So let's talk about what it actually looks like to own a home in a city everybody wants to live in. Because this is where homeowners start asking me the real questions. First one, who is the person who'd live in your backyard? Forget the stereotypes. In Santa Monica, the answer is usually a working professional. West Side careers, Silicon Beach engineers, a therapist with a local practice, a studio staffer with steady work, someone's parent, someone's grown kid. Here's what the numbers say. According to Rent Cafe's analysis of census data, about 72% of Santa Monica households rent rather than own. That's more than 34,000 renter households in a city of roughly 90,000 people. And according to census-based data compiled by Point 2, about 66% of Santa Monica renters, 2 out of every 3, hold a bachelor's degree or higher. That is one of the most educated renter pools in the entire country. Employed, established, and renting for years because buying on the West Side is out of reach for almost everyone. Now, on price. I'm going to be straight with you because the trackers genuinely disagree. Apartment Lists data, as reported by the Santa Monica Daily Press, puts citywide median rent around $2,300 in mid-2026, and actually notes that rents have cooled a little over the last year. Rent Cafe, which leans toward larger apartment buildings, puts the average apartment closer to $3,700. The real figure for any given place lands likely somewhere in that spread, depending on the building and the block. But every source agrees on one thing. Even in a softer year, Santa Monica is still one of the most expensive rental markets in the region, well above the LA metro median. And notice what almost all of that inventory actually is. Apartments. Shared walls, shared hallways, no front door of your own, a well-designed private ADU, a real little home with its own entrance a few blocks from the ocean, isn't really competing with that. It's offering the one thing all those apartments structurally can't: privacy and quiet and a door that's your own. In that exact city where the most educated renter pool in the country is looking for precisely that. Which brings me to the question every Santa Monica homeowner asks in the first 5 minutes. What about rent control? Well, Santa Monica has one of the oldest and strictest rent control laws in the country, and a lot of homeowners just assume it swallows anything they build. So here's the general picture, and please listen to the whole thing, caveats included. There's a state law called the Costa-Hawkins Rental Housing Act. Under it, newly built units first occupied after February 1995 are generally exempt from local renting ceilings. In plain terms, a brand new ground-up ADU is generally not subject to Santa Monica's limits on what you can charge for rent. That surprises a lot of people. But here's the other half, because exemption from rent ceilings is not exemption from everything. Just cause eviction protections and registration requirements can still apply. ADUs converted out of existing space on older multifamily properties are a genuinely complicated category of their own, and the rules change over time. So take what I just said as orientation, not legal advice. Before you lease anything, confirm your own situation with Santa Monica Rent Control Board and a good local attorney. But the headline is this. The assumption that stops most Santa Monica homeowners before they even start is that rent control makes building pointless. But that's simply not what the law says. 2 more questions I always get. The first is the coast. A lot of Santa Monica sits inside California's coastal zone, which can add a layer of complexity for any kind of permitting. So you'll want to check whether your property falls inside it with the city of Santa Monica itself before you choose or design your ADU. The second is a 2-parter, and it's just, is it worth it and will it even fit? Well, that depends on your lot. And it's exactly the kind of thing a good design build team assesses on a day-to-day basis. But in a market priced like Santa Monica, with demand like Santa Monica, the math tends to be friendlier here than almost anywhere. And one last thing before we reach the heart of this, and it matters. If you build in this city, build it beautifully. The renter pool here is educated, particular, and paying some of the highest prices in the country. The same comfort and privacy and quality you'd want for your own family is exactly what keeps a unit at the top of its market year after year. A cheap box a mile from the Pacific is a wasted mile from the Pacific. Now for this part. Transformation is the city's oldest habit. I want to end here back where I started, at the pier. Because if you've been listening closely, this city has been telling us the same story all episode long. Santa Monica's oldest habit is transformation. Taking a thing built for one small purpose and letting it become something nobody could have predicted. A sewer line became a place of joy. A few pieces of exercise equipment on the sand became a birthplace for American fitness. And an ordinary intersection, Lincoln and Olympic, became the end of the most famous road, perhaps, on Earth. This city does this over and over again. It turns the plain thing into the beloved thing. And if you own a home here, you're holding the next one. Think about what you actually have. You live at the end of the trail. For 100 years, the ambition of an entire country has traveled one road and come to rest, more or less, in your zip code. That's not a burden. That's an inheritance. And it comes with a quiet kind of power. Because the thing every arriving person needs most, and can least find, a place to land, is something you can literally build in your backyard. And here's the part I love. That backyard home doesn't have to choose what it's for. On this show, we talk all the time about family integrity planning. This is our name for the idea that your property can hold your own family close. A parent aging comfortably a few steps from your backyard. A grown kid launching a life without leaving. All of that is true here completely. But Santa Monica invites the widest version of that idea too. Because sometimes the future your property serves is your own family's future. And sometimes, in a city like this one, you build the landing pad and the future just shows up, rents it, and becomes something extraordinary. The pier taught this city that transformation is who it is. A sewer line became joy. A playground became a movement. An intersection became a destination. I think that our backyards are next. Thank you for listening. And if today's episode has you thinking about your property in Santa Monica, for your family, or for whoever's making their way west right now, we'd love to talk you through it. Acton ADU carries more than 35 years of design build legacy. Remodels, new homes, whole property renovations, and of course, ADUs. And we're committed to bringing that experience to homeowners across California. We don't just build ADUs, we build homes that last and legacies. Family first, transparent, and no surprises. If you're ready to explore what's possible with your property, visit actonadu.com or give us a call at 408-539-1908 for a free consultation, anywhere in California. A few reminders, spoken plainly, the rental figures in this episode are market averages from sources that genuinely disagree with each other, and markets change all the time. The rent control discussion is general orientation, not legal advice. Santa Monica's rules are among the most complex in California, so confirm your specific situation with the Santa Monica Rent Control Board, a qualified attorney, or an ADU specialist that understands what you're trying to accomplish. And verify current ADU requirements with the City of Santa Monica, including any coastal zone considerations. Or, like I said, contact an ADU specialist to walk you through the next steps. Thank you for listening, and to everyone out there a mile from the end of their own road, keep going. Somebody built a place for you to land. I'm James, and this has been ADU Adventures Building in the Backyard. I'll see you out there. This episode was sponsored by Acton ADU, the experts in high-quality, long-lasting ADUs. With over 35 years of experience in California, Acton handles everything from design to permits to construction, and makes the process seamless for homeowners. If you're thinking about building an ADU, visit actonedu.com or call 408-539-1908 to get started. Thanks for listening to ADU Adventures Building in the Backyard. See you next time.